From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 59 Tonight. I'm Cameron Riddle. Thank you for downloading our new smart TV app, Fox 59 Now. You'll find it in the App Store on your smart TV. Just search for Fox 59 Now on your Roku, Fire TV, Samsung, and Apple TV. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss any of the conversations that we have every night right here on Fox 59 Tonight. As we'd like to do at least once a week, we want to introduce you to somebody who you should know. And maybe you do know her from working out. Maybe you know some of her story. Maybe you know her from the classroom. And if you don't know, well, you're going to know here in just a little bit. But before we introduce her, let's bring in Deja Studdard as we go deep dive on a topic with Deja. Hello, Deja.
Hi, Cam.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm particularly excited about today because we have a very, very interesting woman in the building with us. This lady, she does all that there is to possibly do. Okay, she's a personal trainer. She is an advocate. She is a teacher, and all of that said, she's also a survivor. So, Adrienne Kelly, how are you doing today?
Hello. I am doing amazing today.
I am so excited for you to be here. So, first, I want you, in your own words, to tell people who you are and what it is that you do, because there's so much. It's massive.
Okay. Well, I am a previous teen mother that decided to go to school to get a degree in special education. So I am currently a special education teacher. This is my 13th year in the classroom here in Indianapolis. I am also a personal trainer who focuses on strength training for women and women's health, as well as I am a previvors for breast cancer who decided to get a preventative mastectomy about 6 weeks ago. So my story is complex on many aspects, but I'm here and I love sharing my story with all that want to hear it.
Yeah, and we're going to peel back the layers, and we're going to start with you being a teen mom.
Yes.
And we're going to start with that experience. So first off, how old were you?
I was 16 when I got pregnant, 17 when I delivered my first child. I was also a student at an all-girls Catholic high school, at which time I was dismissed for being pregnant.
Crazy to me, by the way, that a Catholic school.
You've never been to a Catholic school?
I went to a Catholic school, but I mean, it's just
okay.
You know,
mind. We'll talk after.
I know.
I think you missed a couple things.
So from there, I was put in a program for teen mothers, in which they help teen mothers get their GED, an amazing program in Chicago. The problem is they give you the GED as a practice, but they give you the real one to see what aspects you need to work on. And I passed the GED on my first try. So I was dismissed from that program shortly after I entered it. So at 17, I was out in the world just trying to navigate what was next.
Yeah. And what was next?
I worked. You worked for many years. In hospitals and different random jobs, and then
you also had 2 more babies.
I also had 2 more babies during that time. And as one nurse told me, the more babies I continue to have, the less likely I would be to be successful in life. So the odds were stacked against me at that point, according to the medical profession.
That's what a nurse said to you?
Yes, I guess to try and encourage me to stop having babies.
And this was you were how old when you had your first baby?
17, and then 19, and then 21 was my last child.
So the nurse said you probably won't make anything of yourself other than being a mom unless you stop having kids.
Yes.
But what we'll eventually get into is you're on your way to being a school administrator.
Yes.
So we could say she was wrong.
Big wrong.
Yes.
And also, if I could ask, how old are you now? Because you still look like you could be a teenager.
Actually, today is the last day in my 30s. I'm 39. Tomorrow will be 40 years old. Thank you. Thank you.
I normally, I wouldn't ask how old you are. I'm like, the math is not mathing because I'm looking at you. And I'm like,
because it's kind of crazy to hear that you have a 20-year-old.
Yes.
Like that's just That is absolutely wild.
23.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
my oldest right now. Yes.
So you have your babies.
Yes.
And then from there you decide to go to college?
Yes, well, my oldest son was known to have behavioral issues in daycare. So when he went to kindergarten, I kind of tried to warn them something's not right. And they told me he'll be fine. Well, a few months into school, he was truly not fine, displayed severe behavioral concerns, at which time they told me that he could no longer attend school unless I attended with him. And being a single mother of 2 other children, I could not attend school with him. So in the evenings, I took time to learn the law, special education law, and actually went through a due process against the school district and won to have my son serviced correctly.
So there's so much even right there.
Yes.
What do you mean you took the time to learn special education law?
Yes.
Tell me, what does that mean? Like, how do you, like, were you going down to the library?
No, I was using the computer because my kids were at home with me. So I was just using the internet, and way back when it wasn't as advanced as it is now.
Yeah.
But I was reading articles and different law studies and just Article 7 and what my rights were as a parent of a child with special needs.
Okay, and
Yes.
so did you fight them?
I did. I fought them, and at the time I did not know that I could get an advocate. They weren't as readily available.
Right.
So I fought them, and I actually won. He was placed where I wanted him to be placed, which was in a separate behavioral facility. And from there, I decided I was going to go back to school. And I was going to learn the law because I felt I was taken advantage of because I was a teen mother and my skin color was different than the majority of the parents in that district. So I randomly said, I'm going to school. And that's what I was going to study. Went down with my best friend to Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, 6 hours away from my home in Chicago.
And why did you choose school?
Because it was still within the limits of Illinois, and I had to stay within Illinois due to having a custody agreement for my children.
Yeah.
So I went down to Southern. They also had family housing, which is what made it appealing to me. I had to find a college that had family housing because I knew I wanted to take my children with me.
And family housing means that your kids can stay there too?
Yes, your kids can stay on campus. It's actually on-campus housing. It's something I truly recommend for any teen parent is to seek out universities, which most of them do have family housing now, and to take your babies with you.
Wow.
Yes.
That in and of itself
Yes.
is an inspiration to me. Just the fact that, I mean, you didn't just have one kid. You had three babies.
Yes.
And you went down to school. Did you go by yourself?
I did. So I tried to convince my best friend to go with me because I was terrified.
Yeah.
I knew no one. It was in a small town, 6 hours away, but she couldn't go. And so I said, I'm going. And so I went, moved to the middle of nowhere, as we like to call it.
Yeah.
And from there, I just learned the ropes. I learned they had childcare on the campus.
I was curious. I was
Yes,
wondering. I was like,
they
did they
do.
go to class with you? Did they go to school with you?
Yes, and then the public schools in that area also ran buses through our family housing. So the kids that were able to go to public school went straight from campus. And my kids grew up on the college campus with me, and now that experience motivated them to, of course, want to have their own college experience. So right now I have two in college, living their best lives.
Nice. Well, what school did they go to?
My middle child goes to IU Bloomington, and he is a junior, and then my youngest is a sophomore at ISU.
Okay. And
There was a lot that you talked about just now that everything is like defying the odds. Like you being a college student with one kid, let alone more than one, you being of different skin color from the people that you are. Anything with special needs and children is difficult just because it's just complex.
Right.
Even the most simple case is complex.
Right.
And so all these things that you constantly have had to go through means that you strike me as a fighter.
Yes. Yes.
a fighter to say the least.
Yes.
So you go to school, you study
Special education.
special education, and then you graduate.
Yes.
And from there, you move back to
Chicago, but while I was there, I actually did research and became published. So I did research while I was there, and I actually graduated in 2.5 years with a 4.0 GPA.
What?
So that was the other thing. So I took double the amount of classes to try and cut down on the cost as well, and to graduate quicker so that I can get back
Where
into
does
the working
this
world.
Because Cameron said a fighter.
Determination.
Where does this fighting spirit come from? Because I would have gave up.
Being told that I wasn't gonna make it.
Yeah, that can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you move from you graduate in 2.5 years.
Yes.
You know, I how long did it take you to graduate?
4 years.
Okay.
Oh, is there something you want to share?
Like what? So you graduate in 2.5 years, and then you go back home.
Yes.
And then what happens after this?
I go back home.
I like this part.
Yes. I get engaged, and then I relocate to Indianapolis, another place I had never been. But going to college at a place I'd never been, I was kind of used to it.
Yeah.
So I moved to Indianapolis, and then shortly after I moved to Indianapolis, I called off my engagement. But my kids were already enrolled and in schools, and I did not want to disrupt their education. So I started working at a school here in Indianapolis, and I met an assistant principal. I had an amazing principal and an assistant principal, and had a dilemma whether to go home at mid-year and break a teaching contract. And they both said, you should stay for the year. So at that point, I moved into my mother's house. And you guys, I had graduated. I thought I was up and coming. Okay?
Yeah.
So to be back at my mother's house and sharing a bedroom with all three of my kids really took me back. But it was what I needed for my next step in my life. And so that's where my love for fitness was born. I decided to take a year and truly learn myself because I figured out that I didn't know myself anymore. And so through that...
And how old are you at this point?
I was probably 27,
Okay.
I think, because I went back to school when I was about 24. So 27. And I spent a year really learning myself. I said the first thing I was going to tackle was fitness because when I looked in the mirror, I didn't love what I saw. And so that's where I started. And I found a trainer here in Indianapolis. His name was T, or is T. And he did not like morning workouts, but he said he would do morning workouts for me if I was truly committed. And so I started working out, I think it was 5 a.m. Because my kids were still asleep, and that was the only time that I could work out.
Yeah.
And when I say I cried, going to some of those sessions because I was tired or sore, but that's where basically the beginning of Body by AD started.
Okay, so what is Body by AD?
Body by AD is my personal training, group training business. I train only women because I have a passion for women's health. And
Just leave us out. That's fine.
really showing women how to not be intimidated by the weights. I love strength training. And so really teaching women how to lift weights properly, the correct form, and form a community of women that can support each other.
I still get nervous.
Yes.
You know, I've been and you've been my personal, or not, I don't know if you've been my personal trainer, but you've been my trainer
through different
different phases at different parts of the gym. But I still get nervous. What do you do when someone is apprehensive about big weights and like bars and things like that?
I would always say work your way up to it. So I always tell people, don't compare your day 1 to someone's day 365 or day 5,000 for me. So really start where you're at and enjoy being a beginner. Go in there and just start. So I always say form over weight. So having the proper form over lifting weight to me is going to be the golden rule every time. So start small, get a trainer that can teach you the movements, the proper movements, and then go from there. And it's always, I love my ladies that stay with me because they need the accountability, but I also love my ladies that are out in the world that now have the skills to lift on their own.
When did you start Body by AD? So it's one thing, you know, to go to the gym, to get, you know, fit.
Yes.
But it's a whole other thing to decide, I'm going to do this as a business. I'm going to do this as a profession. I'm going to take on, because you have to take, I don't know if you've taken like National Academy of Sports Medicine, like those type of classes and things like that. Like that's a whole different beast. So how
It
did
is.
we move from someone who goes to the gym and who gets up at 5 a.m., which is
Yes.
hard in of itself,
Yes.
and then moving to a coach?
So I started moving to coach after seeing my influence. So seeing myself work out and seeing how many women were just encouraged by that. And so I started working out with those women. And then I started with group training. So I worked for other facilities and other businesses doing group training. So that's where I started. And then randomly, I said I'm going to start running the stairs, and I was going to invite people out to run them with me. And I was not planning on training. I had done personal training before, and I was like, no. During that same period, I had also decided to convert my garage into my own personal workout spot, just for me and content. That was going to be the goal.
Content creator. That's another
Yes.
thing we had. We didn't add that one.
We're showing some of it.
Just for content. And so then at the time, my mother can attest, I did not know what I was doing, but I was determined once again to convert my garage. And there was a point where I was laying on the floor because I laid the floor of my garage as well. So my garage, I put everything together. So I have a full garage that basically I put together myself. So for content purposes, then the ladies were asking me, well, are you going to run groups? And so then I started running groups, and then that became the business.
Okay. When did the business take off? Like, how many years ago was this?
I should know. But I don't.
It kind of just all blurs together.
So I've been training out of my garage maybe 3 years now.
Okay.
Yes.
So I was there. I was in this.
Yes.
I was in this part at this point because
Yes.
I've known you for a while. I was
Yes.
running up the stairs, you know,
Yes.
and I kept running. I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Yes.
You're working out. Tell me about, because in between this working out, you are also bodybuilding.
Yes.
And you're also running marathons. So tell me
Yes.
about those processes.
So very early on in my fitness journey, again, I looked up on social media different fitness organizations here in Indy, and Black Girls Run Indy is one of the ones that came up. And I seen they had a meetup on a Saturday morning. Okay. Knew no one, okay? But I said, I am going to go out and put my best foot forward and meet a group of ladies that I've never seen before. So I joined Black Girls Run Indy, and from there, I started running. I couldn't run a block, you guys, when I first started. Could not run a block.
I was showing the transformation that you posted on your social. How did you, when you look at that, the before and after, how does it make you feel?
Amazing, because that's something that took a lot of time, dedication, tears.
You look like a whole different person.
Yes, and I feel like a whole different person. But I thank the before person because she's the one that stuck it out. She's the one that put herself in uncomfortable situations to make it all happen. So without that first, where I was then, showing up and just putting my best foot forward, I would never be where I am now.
Yeah. I love how you talk about your before.
Yes.
Because sometimes when people talk about their before, it's like, it can be kind of sad, but it's like it took you, you had to start there.
I did have to start there.
And so now tell us about the marathon. Like, how do we go to that?
So I joined Black Girls Run Indy, and when you join like-minded people, they will convince you to do things that you never thought were possible. Right. So I went from running a block to running 26.2 miles with the support of this amazing organization that is free. That was the other thing. You just show up. It's free. And so when I decided to run a marathon, I decided to run Chicago Marathon. I'm from Chicago, so that was very important to me. And it was, I ran for the awareness of suicide. And so my brother, those of you that know me, my brother committed suicide when he was 11 years old, so it's always been a very important awareness for me. And so I ran to raise money for the National Suicide Awareness. And so I ran under his name with one of his best friends. And so I had to raise a certain amount of money, and to my amazement, one of his best friends, who has now passed, sponsored the whole thing off front, so I wouldn't have to worry about fundraising to do it. Wow. So it was an amazing that was an amazing experience. The other thing was we trained for months for this. And so the ladies of Black Girls Run Indy made sure that I crossed that line. I actually crossed the line with a fractured foot as well, because I got a stress fracture around mile 18.
Yeah.
And we continued running through it. Yeah.
How do you train for something like that?
You start small, so you start where you're at and you build from there. But we ran, I believe, up to 22 miles. So you have a training program depending on what you want to do. And we will go out early on Saturday mornings to start running because Chicago Marathon is in October, so you train in the summer.
And what did you eat afterwards?
So with running, we carb loaded.
Yeah.
That's what you need, the energy. Everyone I know, the fat is no carbs. But when you need energy.
When it's running, it's different.
Yes, with running, it's all carbs. Definitely protein.
Yeah.
But carbs.
But what did you have a specific meal afterwards?
Oh, after Chicago?
Yeah.
I did not.
You didn't have a specific? Because I know you've got...
Now after bodybuilding, I had several specific meals.
You had like a flame burger.
Oh, so that's after my bodybuilding. So after I competed for bodybuilding, I had several meals that I had to have. And flame burger here in Indy has been my choice meal. My whole bodybuilding, every week I would go to Flame Burger and have the same thing, a barbecue chicken sandwich, so shout out to Flame Burger. And right afterwards, as soon as I got back to Indy from my bodybuilding competition, that's the first meal I had.
Nice.
So yes, a chicken sandwich with fries.
Okay, so we got to get to this next part of you being a bodybuilder and you running marathons and you are a personal trainer.
Yes.
And we move from this arena, and we're still out. We're in some capacity. We're still in this physical fitness world.
Yes.
And then we move to this much harder phase.
Yes.
Of figuring out and finding out that you have a gene.
Yes.
In your body that increases the likelihood of you getting breast cancer.
Yes.
And so tell us more about your story and your path as far as breast cancer.
Yes. So after competing, my body was worn down, as most people know, and really just trying to get my body to feeling better. I was going to all the checkups, and I recently switched OB-GYNs. And when they see my family history for breast cancer, they really encouraged me strongly to get tested to see if I have the gene.
And what was your family history?
So one of 6. So out of the 6, half had been diagnosed with a form of breast cancer. And so my doctor said she would be surprised if it wasn't a gene because that's the odds. And so from there, I got tested and kind of forgot about it. And then when they called me, I knew something was wrong because I feel like they don't call you unless something is wrong. Yeah. So they called me to tell me that I do, in fact, have the gene. And at that point, I kind of really still didn't know what that meant. Like, okay, what does that mean? And so they connected me with a geneticist. And what a geneticist does is they go through your family history. And going through my family history, I found out that I actually have more cancer on both sides of my family besides just the breast cancer that were actually connected to the gene that I have. So pancreatic cancer is another cancer is connected to this, as well as ovarian and uterus cancer, I believe. So the geneticist met with me and went through all of the odds, and I just remember her saying, with the likelihood of you getting breast cancer, it's not if, it's when. So
how did that feel?
My heart dropped because I felt like it's a waiting tick, like a ticking time bomb. When? Then instantly my kids. I started thinking about my kids. I started thinking about one of my older sisters. She was diagnosed with stage 4, and so seeing her fight breast cancer and just seeing how that was, I knew I had to do something. But in that moment, I still wasn't ready because it was a lot at once.
Had you been diagnosed yet?
I had not been diagnosed.
You just knew that there was a possibility because you have this gene.
Right, and that the likelihood was very high. And so after that...
And the likelihood was high because you have, it's 6 of you all. You're one of 6, and 3 of your 6 sisters have had breast cancer.
Right. And then I have grandmothers and grandfathers that also have, as well as my father is actively fighting prostate cancer and has had kidney cancer. So it was kind of riddled on both sides.
Yeah.
So if you're just doing the math.
If you're just doing the math, the geneticist said the math just is not in your favor. And so then I kind of went on about my life for a little while. And then as I started going back, because they monitor you very closely when you have this gene, and I started getting flagged. And so when you get flagged, then you have to get more advanced testing done. And then it came down to...
Why did you initially get tested? Or like...
I got tested because of my family history.
It was exclusively because of your family history. Okay.
And then once the gene comes back, once you have the gene, if they do any exam and they feel any lump, then you're getting more advanced testing, whether it's a mammogram, MRI, ultrasound.
Did you feel anything at any point?
I felt lumps, but I am a person that has very dense, what they consider dense breasts, so you feel a lot of lumps. And dense breasts is more likely to also hide a lump.
Wow. So you go and you get tested, you get a mammogram.
So every 6 months I was getting a mammogram or an MRI. And so then one of the MRIs I got done was then flagged and said that they seen something. And so then they go into more advanced testing, they do an ultrasound, and then they do a mammogram, and then put me back through an MRI machine, and they still see it. And so then I had to get a biopsy, and I had to get an MRI biopsy. And that's what really shook me. Was the MRI biopsy, because it was for me, it was very painful.
It was painful?
It was very painful, to the point where I always tell people, jokingly but seriously, I had PTSD after that, and did not want to get any more imaging done. And so got past that and found out that the lump was nothing. But then a few months later, they found another lump. And so they wanted to test me again. And at that point, I was like, we can only do certain tests, but I won't get another biopsy because of the pain.
Yeah.
At the same time, I ran into a breast oncologist, and she's a surgeon. Yeah. And I felt that it was meant. I believe in fate, and things happen for a reason.
So what's the likelihood of that?
Right. And so I ran into her at a work event, a school event, and I couldn't remember if she was a breast surgeon or a gynecologist. And so I asked her, and she said, I'm a breast surgeon. I work with women that have breast cancer. So I explained it to her, and she was like, oh my goodness, And so that's how that went. And so from there, I decided to take the leap. Like, now is the time, because they had found another lump, and I didn't want to keep doing it. And at that point, it was really messing with my mental health. I felt like every time that I would get examined, they would find something. And so I started working with Dr. Bowling, and she got me all set up to get my mastectomy. I feel like she prepared me the best she could, that this is an intense surgery. But getting it done preventatively, you have a lot more options as a woman, especially cosmetically. And I'm still fairly young, so that's important to me. As much as I want to do the right thing, like, you also worry about the cosmetics.
Yeah.
We talked about, I can't remember if you were a part of that conversation, Deja, but I had, no, you weren't. I had a breast cancer survivor here not too long ago with Nadia's organization. And she's going to kill me for not remembering the name off the top of my head, but I'll come back to it. But we talked about that part and how, so her organization helps women throughout the whole journey. Okay. But one of the things that we talked about that everybody kind of glosses over, maybe because because we're talking about breasts and it's weird for people. We talk about people losing their hair. Yes. But we don't talk about women having to make the decision to part ways with what's literally their womanhood. Right. And how difficult that is. Yes. What was that time like for you? Because as you said, you're young and hey, this is part of you.
Yeah. Right. And I don't know if we mentioned this wasn't just a mastectomy, it was a double mastectomy.
Yes. So that's definitely the first thing that comes to your mind. And my older sister did get a double mastectomy, so I was able to see how that looked. And honestly, I was scared.
Yeah.
And she had hers done a while ago, and hers was not preventative. So I was able to see how that looked. And so when I met with Dr. Bowling, I was concerned. And then I met with my plastic surgeon, Dr. Monson, and he is amazing. And he was explaining the reconstruction. And there's different ways that they can do the surgery. And if you do not have cancer and you're getting it done preventatively, they can do basically cuts below, which saves all of our womanly features, which sometimes are not an option if you do have active breast cancer. So that really made a difference, which is why I think it's important for women like myself that get it done preventatively to share our stories, because it truly is a scare for most women of what this looks like and what it means going forward. Even one of my coworkers recently told me she's never met anyone that has done this preventatively, and she did it 10 years ago, but she's never known anyone else, and no one ever shares those stories. The importance of getting it done.
That organization is called Pink Forever.
Pink Forever, okay.
Yeah, and they're actually up here on the Northwest side, but they do a whole, they're with you from the whole journey. So from the diagnosis and the treatments and the post-op and the education and all that. So we had a similar conversation about that, because she too had to get a mastectomy, and she talked about she was young and she had a very kind of a similar thing. It was her sister who had something first, and then she decided to do it. But it's this is like literally the only second time that I've ever heard somebody really talk about it, because everybody just talks about losing your hair and the chemo and what that's like, but there's a whole other component that everybody just kind of glosses over.
Yes, and just going through it and being a previvor, which is what they call it, since you didn't have cancer, and really taking my hat off to women that fight cancer and do a mastectomy, because the recovery is something that no doctor can prepare you for. They're experts in performing the surgery, but they're not experts in recovering or experiencing the surgery. So I turned to TikTok, okay? And that really helped me, because they're experts in recovering from the surgery. And I learned so much. And so that's when the power of social media hit me once again, that it's so important to share your story, because the same way I was looking for information, the same way other people are, and what to expect. Your doctors are amazing, but they have never experienced it themselves.
Right. It's so
you have to hear from the people. And I always tell my plastic surgeon, he's probably going to laugh at this, well, on TikTok, he's tired of me.
Oh, no.
And on TikTok,
I know a professional hates that.
yes, but he giggles at it. But these are real life experiences, and they give you the basis of things I would have never thought to ask my surgeon, or things that I didn't know were possible.
Yeah. In some ways, it helps to set you free to know that other people have experienced this and gone through it. And what's so powerful about it is that you may not be able to find that around you, like in your orbit. So the fact that you can reach out to people online and be like, I'm going through this is something. And the fact that now people can look to you as someone who they can reach out to, and then they can see how she survived and how she's recovered. Which, speaking of that, we're approximately 6 weeks post-op.
Yes.
How has your recovery been?
Oh, wait, this is like fresh.
Yes.
Oh, y'all didn't say that.
Ago. So October 3rd.
Okay.
Yes, October 3rd, I had my surgery. The first 3 weeks were very rough. I'm hyper independent. So having to depend on someone to do literally everything was very interesting for me. I was blessed enough to have an amazing support system, and my boyfriend as well as my mother that were by my side, because I truly could not do simple tasks. And so the first 3 weeks were very, very rough. But after that, it started to get a lot better. 6 weeks out, I feel amazing. I'm ready to start working out again. And so, but like I said, those first 3 weeks were on top of that, I also got shingles during that time.
Gosh.
So that thanks to my plastic surgeon, who was amazing, and took a shot in the dark on it. Because I didn't have a rash, I just had a lot of burning pain on one side that was near the mastectomy area. And he took a shot in the dark and said, I think you may have shingles with no rash. I don't know how his brilliant mind thought about it, and he started treating me for shingles. He wasn't sure it was going to work, but literally 24 hours after being treated, starting to be treated for shingles, I thought I could run a marathon. And before that, literally, I didn't know if I would ever recover from this mastectomy because the pain was so bad.
Probably had some regret at that point.
Yes, the first 3 weeks was a lot of questioning myself, honestly, mentally. Why would I do this to myself? Maybe I should have just waited, because there was a small chance, you know, that I would have never developed. Very small chance, but like, who does this to themselves?
Because you chose to do this.
Because I chose to do this. So it was definitely some moments like that, especially in those hard moments when you're alone and you can't do the basic things you're used to doing. But looking back on it is the best decision now that I'm on the other side of the pain and the movement restrictions. It's the best thing that I could have ever done. Yeah. My journey is far from over, though, because I'm getting reconstruction, which is an option for women that have mastectomies.
Yeah. I don't want to ask something that's too personal, but did your insurance cover an elective?
My insurance covered an elective mastectomy because I have the gene. So if you have these genes,
about that.
Your most insurances will cover these procedures because I want to say it's the right thing to do, but really I think it's financially the best thing for them because it's a lot cheaper for them to do it preventatively. And when I say cheaper, my medical bills are still outrageous, but they were covered, than to include chemo and things on top of that.
Yeah.
So you said you're 6 weeks, but there's still some surgeries ahead. You're going to do some reconstruction. What all does that, because you're not done.
No, I'm not done. So this is a long procedure. A long outlook. So I had the procedure done, and at which time they placed expanders. I wanted to go, honestly, direct to implant, but my plastic surgeon did not think it was the best idea, and I thank him for that, because I was like, we're gonna get this done one time.
That's right.
He really encouraged me not to do it that way, and now I see why. And so with the expanders, you get them filled every week. So they fill them with saline to slowly expand your skin. And so we're in that process now. And once that process is done, then they let your skin settle. Because with this procedure, they're taking out everything besides your skin. And so to keep your skin alive, you can't have a lot of pressure against that skin, or the little bit of nerve endings left will die. And so they have to slowly put the pressure back on your skin. So in February or sometime after that, I'll get an exchange surgery. And so what that is taking the expanders out, which is a device. And I always joke with people, but this has helped me, and it truly is how they feel. It feels like you have Tupperware in place of where your breast should be. And they take a needle. I plan on doing a video on it. And they fill them every week. And luckily, you usually don't feel it because we are numb, because they've cut so many nerve endings. That's the thankful thing in that part, because you don't feel this needle going in your chest. But then you get your implants put in if you choose reconstruction. And then from there, it's still a lot of different things like fat grafting and things like that, which tries to hide the implant because you have no other tissue in that area besides your skin.
I have never heard anything like this before.
Yes.
Like I mean I've only heard it post-op, as Cam, as you were saying. Like, I've only heard this in the context of someone already having breast cancer.
Yes.
And even then, that's hard enough. So tell me, we were talking about recovery. And you were talking about you went to TikTok and you got some tips. And
Yes.
you look,
Yes.
So what tips do you have for someone who is thinking about this, or who's actively going through it right now?
So I would say, one, I would encourage people to get tested if your medical professionals feel you should be. There are risks in being tested, especially if you have private insurance. So insurance not buy your job, because it could flag them to make your rates higher if you have this gene. So that's one thing to consider before getting tested. But if your medical professionals think you should be tested, I honestly think you should be too. And then to really research and look at all your options and what's best for you. This was best for me and my family situation, but I respect everyone's decision. If you do decide to go through with it, there are some things. Make sure you have a strong support system in place, especially for that recovery. Make sure you're kind to yourself, because this is a surgery that's considered a major surgery. And so being kind to yourself when your movements are limited, as well as one of my best things, and I have to tell you this because I tell everybody this, the nurses in the hospital, on TikTok, the women were talking about a mastectomy pillow. And no professional told me to buy this pillow because they're professionals in doing the surgery and not going through it. And that was my lifesaver. My support system will tell you I went everywhere. I went to appointments to the point where the nurses were like, I think we should buy these things and keep them stocked, because I was like, this is truly a lifesaver. And I learned that off of social media. And that's my number one thing. Someone else reached out to me that will have the surgery, and I said, if you don't have anything else, that's what you need. That's the one thing that I would highly suggest going through it. And then really just being kind to yourself.
Yeah. I just cannot. Your fighting spirit and your ability to overcome is beyond the capacity of anyone that I know. It is like, I knew when I met you that you were that girl. But I did not know that all of the backstory, from the fighting the special education laws, from bodybuilding to building your own company to running marathons. I mean, what?
I hope one day you don't have to fight, Like, you've been doing a lot of fighting.
Well, she is going to fight. She's definitely going to win.
Well, yeah, but fighting gets exhausting. And so
fighting does get exhausting.
I hope at one point you don't have to.
Get this rest.
But you mentioned, Deja, the special education and the fighting. You are going to channel that type of energy differently. Now you'll be helping other people get through that fight. Tell us a little bit more about the special education and what role you're doing now and what you hope to do.
So currently I'm a special education teacher. This is my 13th year. I did say I was going to retire when my son graduated, my oldest son, which was the reason I went into special education. So that has long passed. And so I did take the initiative to go back and get my administration license in special education. Just education as well, but my focus is special education. So my next journey is to become a special education coordinator, director of special education, to really change what is being done in special education on a higher level, to advocate for students, and to really just put my knowledge out there to make sure that special education teachers have what they need to be successful in the classroom, which I'm seeing there's a lack of right now, just in general. As there's less teachers going into teaching, there's even less teachers going into special education. And so the teachers that are going into special education, to make sure they have the tools that they need to do their job properly.
And what is it that you feel as though they need the most, that they lack?
One, support. Really knowing the job. Right now, I think a lot of teachers are hired straight out of school. And
because they'll take the job.
The textbook way that they teach you in school doesn't always translate into real life, and what we see in the classroom, real life. So being able to be an outlet for them for that, as well as really truly understanding the law, because as a special education teacher, you are held to a federal law. And so making sure that they understand that and have the resources, which I see right now is a place that we lack, and really understanding that our job, if you go into special education, it's not always for your convenience. You do what's right because it's right and not because it's convenient for you. So that's my purpose right now, is really emphasizing that we're put in these positions for a reason, and our parents trust us. So to make sure that we're making the right decisions as special education teachers. And sometimes the right decisions aren't made because you don't know the law. But sometimes the right decisions aren't made because they're not convenient. And so really changing that, starting from the top.
Wow.
So you'll be, when will you be an administrator? What's our timeline?
So I graduate in May.
Okay.
And so after that, I'll start searching. For,
Okay.
Where are you graduating from?
It's called GCU, Grand Canyon University. So I did it online.
Out of old Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, yes. So
Is that where you were at?
so online, which has been amazing because I've still been able to work, run my business, and
Yeah.
do my graduate
Do it all.
degree. Yes, all at once, and start from there.
Yeah. And what exactly did you study?
At Grand Canyon, it's educational administration,
Okay. And what did you study for your bachelor's?
special education.
Okay.
Yes,
Wow. This
Yes,
is
yes,
really,
yes.
truly like full circle.
yes.
How, when you think about like all of what you've been through and all of what you've done and all of what you've accomplished, I know it's a big question, but how does it make you feel?
I feel amazing. I feel amazing that, and truly everything happened for a reason, and I couldn't see it in the moment. Becoming a teen mother then drove my purpose to become an educator, and moving to Indianapolis and calling off my engagement then birthed my fitness journey and my next business, Body by AD.
Yeah.
So even though these were very, very hard moments in my life, they truly birthed my purpose.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, all things work together.
Yes, truly, truly.
Yeah, and speaking of, it's a bit of a scripture there.
Yes.
How important has your faith been to you in this journey?
My faith has been everything.
Yeah.
No matter what, unwavering. And I always tell people there's no way, it makes no sense where I am and how I got here, besides my faith.
Yeah.
Because he will take a mess and turn it into a message. And that is truly me. Starting off as a teen mother, a lot of people looked at that as a mess.
Yeah.
That's turned it into a whole message for
Oh my
other
gosh.
teen mothers. And I hope one day that will be my next thing, is to really help teen mothers find their way and navigate college or whatever they want to do, because a lot of people have that stigma that it's not possible once you have a baby. And
That's
I've learned
huge.
those ropes, and I would love to share that with others and pass that along.
Yeah, a lot of people, I think even now in 2025, have a mentality where if you get pregnant and you're a teen or you're very young, you're just not going to make it.
Right.
And so the fact that you were determined enough to decide that you were going to go to, not just go to school, but like bring your kids with you. Some people leave their kids with their, if they can, they might leave their kids with their mom, they might leave their kids with their dad.
Yes.
But the fact that you took your kids with you, I think that even that says something about who you are.
And that was definitely an option. My mother did offer to keep my children.
Really?
Because she has always been a very active part of my life, of course. And she's always been 5 minutes away from me, no matter where I am. So, but I just couldn't leave them. And I want other mothers to realize that you don't have to choose between being a mother and going to school to better yourself if that's if that's the path you want to take.
Why couldn't you leave them?
Because they're mine, and that's just the motherly instinct in me. And I wanted them to truly see something that I didn't see. I didn't see a lot of people going to college. I didn't see it, and so I wanted them to experience it with me, and they did. They went to class with me sometimes. I mean, they were known. It's still the people I went to college with still know my kids. They're like, they grew up. They're like their aunties and uncles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right,
Yeah.
Cam. How much time we got left?
We're out of time.
And I was like, I know I was like, I know we've got to be running out because, and I'm sure we could talk much longer. Are you? And I don't want to put anything on you that you're not. Are you a grandmother?
I am.
You're a grandmother.
To a 3-year-old, and he has my heart. Yes.
Yes. And congratulations on that, because that
he
is
makes
like
an
a
appearance
whole.
on my social media.
Yeah,
often.
even that is a whole other layer of womanhood.
Yes.
And you have mastered every single one of them.
Thank you.
And
thank you. And thank you for reaching out and having me on here. Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, oh goodness.
Well, one way.
Thank you for coming and sharing your story.
Yes.
I know that's not always easy to do. And when I messaged you, I was like, I understand. I was like, I completely understand if you don't want to do that.
And I was like, wait a minute, what?
One way for people to keep up with you is by following you on Instagram, body.by.ad on Instagram. Thank you so much for coming on, Adrian. It's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Deja.
Yeah.
What else you got coming up this week?
Oh, we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk to Stephen Sanders from
Moselle Sanders.
Moselle Sanders and their organization and what they do. Thanksgiving's on the way. So that's what we got coming up this week.
All right. And of course, we'll see
deep dive.
We'll see also what you have written up on FOX59.com as well.
We certainly I am definitely writing an article on this piece right here. I always write articles.
All right. Thank you, Deja. Thank you, Adrian. That's going to do it for this edition of Fox 59 tonight. We're here every night at 8 o'clock. We will see you back here tomorrow. Good night.